much did that playoff game facing this defense once already, when you got out there tonight, how much did it feel like, you know, you weren't overwhelmed at all by the speed and whatever the Cowboys threw at you?
Yeah. Yeah, I think it did help for sure. Just watching the film and just our scheme going into this game, the mindset going into this game, I just felt like it was just better overall for myself. The last game, just the pass rush, where we were at in the season, and it was great defense. They were solid in what they did. I don't know if that maybe got me off edge a little bit or what, but this game, just the mindset going into it, knowing what I'm looking at. I've played this defense before. It helped for sure. But the play calls were great. Guys made plays all around me. Defense did great, so it wasn't just me. So
on the flea flicker, obviously George is wide open. Does that make it any more difficult for you, just knowing that I just can't miss this? I mean, are those passes sometimes more difficult in the tight windows?
Yeah, they can be. Just you sometimes can overthink it. Do I put it on him? Do I lead him downfield, or what? So I think in that case, I was about to get hit, so it was actually nice knowing that. All right, I just got to get the ball to George, even though I'm about to take a hit. So George did a great job. The play was great. Play was a great draw up. We were excited we got to finally call it, so it was good.
Brock, you've been in obviously a pretty good offensive groove here. Any other point in your football career where you felt this in sync with an offense that you guys can do almost anything you're doing?
Yeah, I don't know if I've ever felt, like feeling this good just with the offense and everything as a whole. I can't really think of a time. There's some good games, he played back-to-back games in college. But, right now, yeah, it feels like everyone's just on a mission, man. Like the mindset is right where it needs to. Everyone's so detailed in what they do. The play calls are great. So it's like all I got to do is go out there, do my job, and that's it, and just play ball. So obviously we feel good where we're at, but there's still areas we can still get better at. So
you could tell from the beginning that you were on, and you almost had to resist calling too many passes, which kind of is different for him, I think. Did you feel like you were on at the very start of this game?
I mean, yeah, he was doing a good job just calling plays where I could just, take a quick drop, get the ball out, get into a rhythm. And, so obviously for me, I'm always like, yeah, I'm willing to throw every down. But, just in terms of having a balanced offense, run the ball, it's what we have to do. And so, yeah, I felt good early on. I actually felt like, I missed a couple throws just with BA, some opportunity balls early on that I wish I had back. But outside of that, got into a rhythm and we were able to roll. So, yeah.
I think the significance of this is big picture in terms of beating. I mean, everybody thinks it's Dallas, Philadelphia, and San Francisco in the NFC. And you just beat them by the biggest margin ever in the rivalry. What's the significance of that, dominating both sides of the ball and winning big on the scoreboard?
I mean, honestly, we're just taking one day at a time, one game at a time. We're not trying to get caught up with what people are saying or how other teams are looking. It's a week by week kind of thing for us. It's any given Sunday. You come out, another team is ready to roll. They're going to give you your best shot. So it's not just a given that these are going to be the teams at the end. So we know that. We have a lot of, I feel like experience and veterans to be able to say that ain't true. So we got to, just keep our heads down and continue to work. And it's football, man. Anything can happen. So we're leaving it at that.
You were asked maybe half jokingly on Thursday, you felt guilty about George having one catch last week. But, I mean, is it nice that, guys like George aren't going to be, like, ticked off, or moping when they have one catch for 9 yards? I mean, does it just help you as a quarterback that you probably don't have to deal with, a lot of drama like that?
Yeah, I mean, like we said before, this team doesn't have, any ego. Everyone wants to win. I feel like everyone knows that they're good, and so it's going to be just a matter of time with their game. This game, George had, the touchdowns. He had opportunities, but still, Debo, B.A., Christian, everyone's able to contribute, J.J. And so, their time comes, and so they know that. But at the end of the day, we put winning first. That's what we want to do. And, there's no, selfish times where, guys are coming up to me saying, hey, man, I'm open. You got to throw it to me or anything like that. So I'm very lucky and fortunate for that, and we'll just keep it rolling.
Before that you you block out the noise about what other people are saying outside of the building? And Nick was just in here and said he thinks you're playing like one of the best quarterbacks in the league. So how does it feel to hear that from your teammate, especially a teammate like Nick?
Yeah, you know, it means a lot, obviously, but, you know, for me, I'm not trying to get caught up in what other people are saying. You know, there's still stuff on film where I can get better. And, you know, Kyle's real with me about that. Greasy's real about it. All the quarterbacks in the room were like, man, we hold ourselves to a standard, and so that's what we're trying to strive for. And so that's where I'm at with that. I want to continue to just keep building these guys up around me and, you know, just keep winning. So.
When you see you said at the beginning you felt more comfortable than you did in the playoff game. Was there a measure that this is an element of this that was more important for you to make sure that you kind of rectify what you said one of your tougher games this week, like internal motivations from that?
I mean, yeah, obviously watching the film from last year, it's like, man, I want to be better. You know, that's really every game. But, you know, going back to last year, it's like, all right, I'm going to play a lot of the same guys on defense, a lot of the, like, really the same scheme. And so how, you know, for myself, you know, sort of it's another challenge for me, you know. You know, with this scheme, I want to be better than I was last time. But was that my only motivation and my only, you know, goal this week? No, man, I was just doing what I was asked. Knew that the game would come to me over time. You just got to get into a rhythm, hit the open guys, you know, do my part as a quarterback. Don't try to force stuff and be a superhero. And that's that. So learned from the game last year, moved on, and just played this week.
How often do you see things from defenses that you hadn't seen before? You know, are you still seeing that, you know, things for the first time, or maybe times that the defenses try to surprise you? You know, or
Yeah, I feel like, you know, the defense, you know, going into the game, they'll have their base scheme and whatnot, and then, you know, there's always a couple switch ups within every single team that they try to do. Dallas, you know, did a couple, you know, 2 high shells tonight, more than I think they've done on film. And so for us, it's like, you know, you go into a game thinking they're going to do this, but they're obviously got some stuff schemed up as well that we have to be ready for. So that's something that we talk, you know, about on the sideline and adjust. And Kyle does a good job with, you know, adjusting some plays and stuff for that. So that's how we go about it.
What goes through your mind when the coach pulls you and says, hey, you did a great job, that's it for the day? What happens? What's in your mind after that?
Yeah, and obviously it feels good just to know that we're up big and whatnot, and all right, like, we're going to put in another quarterback, you know, to finish out the game and stuff. So, yeah, it feels good, but at the same time, man, like, that was this week. You know, you got to get ready for next week. The minute you get caught up in thinking that you're doing all great and stuff, you can get humbled real quick. So that's where I'm at, and got to get ready for the Browns.
Real quick, can you talk about your offensive line and how great of a job they're doing this year?
Yeah, the O-line did a great job. Hugged them all after the game, and they're the real dudes. They should get all the glory, man. So without them, this ain't possible. Thanks, guys.
Second game in a row where there have been 2 finable offenses directed at you, face mask and a helmet to helmet. Do you feel like teams are targeting you in any way?
I don't know. Maybe. Yeah, I have no idea. I don't know what's intentional and what's not. It's hard to tell when, you know, you're out there live.
Tell us about the week of practice. Did you have a sense that an explosion like this was coming from the offense?
You know, you never know. You just prepare the best you can each week. Such a fun win to be a part of, man, when you have so many guys who played so well. And, man, the defense played lights out. That's a good defense. And to win like that is a testament to, you know, the character of this team and how well we can play.
You ever get a flea flicker call in Carolina?
Oh, it's a good question. I'd have to go back to the tape. Yeah, I have no idea.
How often do you guys practice that? I mean, so many moving parts here. You have to be pretty well practiced, I imagine, to call it.
I think that's in every week. I'm not 100% sure, though, but definitely practiced it.
What's the difference in taking that initial handoff as opposed to the guy throwing the pass like you did last year, right?
Yeah. Well, the difference is you don't throw it, and then on one you know, the obvious differences. But no, it's so cool to, whenever those plays work, you know, especially after a big stop like that. I had done a dumb play, fumbled on the one like an idiot, and defense did a great job having my back, you know, come back and score the next play. That makes me feel really good, you know, because that's a terrible feeling. So then for them to come out and play like that, and that meant a lot. So, you know, it's just good complimentary football.
I don't know if you think results make statements to other teams in the NFL, but beating a Cowboys team that a lot of people think a lot of, and it sounds like you do too, by that margin and dominating the game on both sides like you did, what's the significance of that to you guys?
Oh man, I mean it means something because being 5-0 was important to us. You know, winning every week is important because we know we can, and so for us it's 1 week at a time. It's preparing as best we can each week, and just being 1-0 at the end of the week. You know, that's a great team. Next week's a great team. You know, you're gonna play great teams every week in this league, and it's about going out there and playing the best on Sunday when the lights are on.
What's impressed you most about George Kittle since you've been around him?
Man, every week he impresses me. You know, you look at what he can do with the ball in his hands, and he can have 3 touchdowns. But you look at what he does in the run game and how well he blocks, and just his attitude, his character. I mean, he's one of those guys that I think everyone speaks or would agree on this, but he's somebody who is a very memorable locker room player. Somebody that if you play with him, you're really lucky.
Have you seen Jordan Mason continue?
He's been great. Man, he runs so hard. Every time his number's called, he's running really hard and finishing plays. You know, we saw a lot of that last year too. So I don't think it shocks any of us, but he's a hell of a player. Ty obviously got in there too and ran hard. So it's good when we can have all of us be able to move the ball forward. Thanks, guys.
That ain't.
During the week and a couple of weeks, you talked about how solid your defense has been and how good it's been, but that it can be great. And a lot of that had to do with taking the ball away. And it was tonight sort of an example of where you guys hope to be.
Yeah, it's funny because, you know, Coach Wilkes, he said it last night. He said, you know, you guys don't know how good you truly can be. You know, we see the talent in the room and what our potential is, but it's about doing it, you know, week in and week out. And to do it this game on this stage against a really good football team, I mean, it really meant a lot.
This sends to the rest of the league for what kind of team this is.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Obviously, that we're dangerous, but it's not even about the other teams to us. You know, it's all about us. Every single game, it's all about us. You know, we understand the opportunity that we have, and it's about just taking it 1 week at a time. Regardless of who we're playing, we got to uphold the standard and play to the best of our ability every single game. And if we do that, then we'll like the result.
How much did that result impress you?
It was pretty impressive. You know, we talked about a dogfight. You know, going into this game, we knew Dallas was a really good football team. And, you know, when it's your night, it's your night. To do it in front of the whole country, it was pretty cool.
When you, during the week, I know you guys are playing the other team's offense, and you say you're worried about yourself, but there was a lot of talk about Dallas's defense going into this game. Did that stuff get through to your guys' ears at all about how good their defense was supposed to be?
I guess the political answer would be not. We don't hear that stuff, but I mean, being the competitor I am, of course, I wanted us to be the top defense tonight, and I think we did that.
There's a handful of guys in the NFL that people always talk about for NFL Defensive Player of the Year. Your teammates won, Micah Parsons. This kind of seemed to be an audition tape or a resume for you doing all those things. Do you think of yourself in that light as being capable of winning an NFL Defensive Player of the Year?
I mean, if they put me in that conversation, great. You know, to me, I know what I have to contribute to this team. I know the caliber of player I am. I don't need anybody else's, recognition or people to tell me how great I am. I want to be the best person I can be, best player I can be for my teammates and for this team. You know, we know what we have ahead of us and the goals that we've set out for ourselves. All that other stuff take care of itself when you're just doing things the right way day in and day out. You know, I'm just really grateful and for this moment, seriously.
At what point did you think you got a sense that you were going to dominate the game and it was becoming frustrating for them offensively?
As soon as the offense went down on that first drive and scored, I was like, we got them. You know, that's the way that they're operating right now is unbelievable. You know, I've been a part of a lot of good teams since I've been here, but the way the offense is playing is unlike anything I've seen. That right there just lets me know as long as the defense is doing our job, we're always going to have a chance.
2019, you guys got off to a similar start, and it was pretty new for that group contending. I mean, and this year, how much do you feel like the last few years and even 2019 has shaped you, and how different does it feel at this point?
Yeah, I think as you go through your career as a coach, as a player, you know, you learn things along the way. You get scarred, you know, by adversity and by, you know, things that happen in your path, and you learn from those things, right? And so I think you talk about even going into this season how we said we wanted to get off to a fast start, you know, because of things that have happened in the past and how we didn't feel like we needed to hit some adversity in order for us to be all the way locked in, all the way dialed in from the jump, you know. And so those are things you learn as you go. And there's still things we got to learn, you know, as we continue through this season. To say that we're the team that we're going to be in December and January, I don't think so. I think we still have a long ways to go, and it's all about just living in the moment and taking it 1 week at a time.
Kyle was saying that he felt during the week of practice, he felt really good, watching how you guys were practicing. Did you feel that, or did you and Dre need to get his up, or was everybody just locked in from the jump?
Yeah, everybody was locked in. I'm really confident in our team, our leadership, the way that we operate day in and day out. It's not luck, right? Like, I think these things happen for a reason. And I mean, we talk about the detail and at which we operate day in and day out, meetings, walkthrough, practice, all of it is just for moments like this. Thanks, guys.
First ever 3-touchdown game.
Thank you.
Not to compare the last QB that was here, but what's your chemistry developed with Brock for you to get a 3-touchdown game like that?
You know, just being able to practice with him, and his consistency is what's really helpful. Also, being able to see Vernon pregame. I think he told me to score 3 to tie his record, so I was like, oh, fine, Vern, I'll do it. I'll tell Brock. But no, Brock's just so consistent every single day. He's the same guy he is on Wednesday as he is on Sunday. He's super detailed. He's super confident. It's everything you want in a quarterback. And he's just playing at such a high level right now. And I think really the best thing he does, you guys see it, he's just his ability to move in the pocket and keep his eyes up and see things develop. And so if he doesn't hit you like, you know, where he's supposed to, he sees the second window. He's just very, very good at that.
George, let me ask you.
Yes.
When was your last 3-touchdown game?
That was my first one. Yeah, I think so. Oh, yeah, I mean, I was a hell of a 7th grade running back, I'll tell you that much. Yeah, running back and defensive end. I had a lot of sacks as well. But, yeah, no, it's been a minute. But it's always fun.
You mentioned Purdy keeping his eyes on downfield. On your 3rd touchdown, he's kind of rolling left a little bit. Is it like you made like a second move on that?
No, I mean, that was a play design. I think Christian just did a really good job. Dean got a little bit upfield, and he just, like I said, Brock's pocket awareness and being able to move and like keep his feet in position so he can make all those throws. He's a robot, man. He's just very special.
He could tell that Brock was kind of on today. Could you tell that from early on?
I think Brock's always on. Like I said, when you see him on Wednesday, he's on. You know, it's the first day. We get like 100 first and second down passes and 50 runs. And he knows all of the cans. He knows how to change the play. He does everything. So he's just so prepared every single day.
Is that kind of more stunning because he's so young, you know, career-wise?
You know, yes and no. I always say that one of the things about Brock that allows him to be a really good quarterback is he played for 4 years at Iowa State. So, like, he played a lot of, you know, he's played a ton of snaps, and he's just been able to play, and he's had the highest of highs, he's had the lowest of lows, he's had to come back, he's had to, you know, play through tough seasons, and just when you experience, you know, all the highs and lows in college, and when you get to the NFL, you're just kind of prepared for it. And I'm not trying to compare college to the NFL, but he's just had so many reps that it's allowing him to play like a vet.
How can somebody who's played so well in his college career end up being the last pick in the NFL draft? I still can't figure that out.
You know, they'll probably say something about his size and his hands are too small to hold a football.
When you address each of your touchdowns, it seems like Brock threw it with a different pace. You know, like on the line,
yeah,
off. You know, do you see that every day in practice? Or?
Yeah, I mean, he throws some ridiculous footballs in practice, and I mean, I know everyone likes to tweet during training camp about interceptions and stuff like that, but that's just him getting ready for the season. He's going against, in my opinion, the best defense in the NFL. And honestly, the best thing about training camp for us was really that Nick Bosa didn't play. And so we were able to actually have an offense. And he didn't have to disrupt every single play if he wasn't going against Trent Williams. Nothing against our tackles. That's just how good Nick Bosa is. And so we were actually able to, have fun drives. He was able to look downfield and just get used to it and build chemistry with all of our skilled players. And that's really what it is.
You've been a part of a team that's won a lot of games and convincing match, but in terms of a total team performance tonight, where would this rank in terms?
I mean, I think that's one of our best team performances. On Sunday Night Football, it's my favorite night to play because everybody's watching. There's a ton of football just played, and everybody's sitting at home with their friends and family, either celebrating or, mourning, but they're still watching that game. And for us to go out like that, and I mean, you talk about our defense. Fred Warner played a hell of a game tonight. Interception, forced fumble, bunch of tackles. Our whole D-line was fantastic. And then you look at our special teams. Wisnowski just can't not punt it great. He's been fantastic. All those punts inside the 10, inside the 5. It's really difficult as an offense to do that, especially when you're coming out of the end zone and our crowd's really loud. George Odom's fantastic. He had all those tackles on special teams. He really sets the tone, gets the crowd going. And then every time you put the ball in one of our skill positions' hands, they have an opportunity to score a touchdown. So we have a really good team. We're healthy, and we're clicking right now.
How long have you been waiting for that flea flicker to be
We've
called?
had that installed since last year, I want to say week 7 or 8. And it's just always up. I'm like, dude, can we call it? And we called it last year in the NFC Championship game with Christian. Didn't throw it because I think I was quadruple covered. Didn't really have much threat of throwing last year. But it was fun. I was sitting on my couch and I saw Laporta scored on it with the Lions. And I was like, sent to my tight end coach. I was like, dude, they ran our play. How'd they know? He was like, don't worry, we're going to run it better. And yeah, it's 10 yards farther out, so I guess that counts. But I'm never upset when 2 Iowa tight ends are scoring on the same play.
When you hear it called in the huddle, are you thinking, okay, this is my...
100% touchdown. And then, the best part about that was it's usually on the dummy, which means that Brock's going to get up there, wide A, set hut, and pretend that we were going to change it to a new play. And the play clock was running down, so we just went on 1 instead, and Colton thought it was still on the dummy, so he doesn't even move. So I had to stay in a little bit longer to not let the defensive end just blow up the whole play. So at first I was like, oh, this is going to be not great because the corner was just sitting out there to the safety, and then turns out he tried to cover Christian, and I was able to run down the sideline.
How long did you guys practice that this week, George? What was the mood when you were doing it?
Twice. I think we ran it on Wednesday in the walkthrough. We ran it on Friday in the walkthrough, and then we ran it again on Saturday in the walkthrough. So whenever you get something ran 3 times, that means you're probably going to run it in the game.
Last year against the Cowboys, you had a big game. You're obviously pretty featured part of the passing game plan. Did you sense that today you'd be heavily featured again?
Yes and no. I mean, I would say last week versus the Cardinals, I thought I was going to have 150 yards and 3 touchdowns. And you just didn't, just not the way that the game went. And, Kyle calls, whatever's hot, that's how he feels, and that's why he's such a talented play caller. I knew I had some activity in the red zone this week, which was really fun. And you can see the first play was, one of our favorite red zone plays, called it, go up 7-0. And then we had that trick play. And then the last one, too, we actually just took it from New England. They ran it this past week. I think they ran it they ran it against them, and it worked out really well. So it was just fun to be able to get in the end zone.
Did you know you were that much better than them, and what did you learn about your team winning so decisively, really all aspects of the game?
I think Dallas is a fantastic football team. They really are. They have athletes all over the football field. They can make plays. I mean, I think their first touchdown, that deep shot, was a hell of a catch by the wide receiver, wonderful ball by Dak. It's just the thing about in our offense and defense and special teams, we're just a very violent football team, and the hits just kind of add up after a while, whether, whoever's, dealing them, whether it's Trent Williams on a block or Fred and Dre on a pass play or our safeties coming down, those things build up after a while, and that's how our training camp, that's how our kind of how our OTAs is, that's how our training camp is. We're a violent physical football team, and that's just the standard of the 49ers, and I still go back last year, my favorite statistic ever is every team that played us lost the next week, and that's our goal is, you have to get up for us, and that's just kind of how we play regardless. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work, but we're going to be as violent as we can every single game. Thank you, guys. Have a wonderful night.
First 4 games that you weren't fully satisfied that there was room for improvement. Does this kind of feel like the way it should?
Yeah, for sure. Defensively, I think the back end did their thing tonight. Not that they haven't been doing it, but they stepped it up even more. And when they do that, we're as good a defense as there is.
Did you learn anything about your team today, Nick, that you didn't know beforehand?
Not too much, but I'm definitely incredibly confident in our offense, and for our D lineman to get pulled, and I think the 5 minutes left in the third quarter is against a team like that shows that we're kind of on a different level this year.
What do you attribute that to? Why do you think this season has started off and you've played such consistently through 5 games?
I think just the way we've built this team, we've had aspects since we've been here where we haven't been as strong, and the way John and Kyle have built the team with offensively, with they could attack in any way. You got Ayuk who could go deep. You got Debo. You got Christian. You got George. There's really no weakness, and then Brock is playing as one of the best quarterbacks in the league.
Talk to you since you guys added Randy Gregory. What are your thoughts about having another D end on the team?
I think it's going to be huge, adding depth to that position. We're not thin, but depth always helps, and I think he fits our scheme perfectly. He's extremely physical. I met him the other day. Seems like a really good dude, and I mean he's an $80 million defensive end who we got for a bargain. So it could get even better for us.
Nick, you said how Brock is one of the best quarterbacks in the game. Can you still believe that he actually ended up being the last pick in the draft? I mean, that just seems inconceivable. That.
Yeah, it blows my mind, but I am extremely, extremely happy that he's here.
You won 11 straight home games. Is there a sense of a home field advantage here that's glaring or evident?
Yeah, I think whenever you have a fan base who shows up as good as we do, home and away, it makes the offense on the other team a little bit behind on some of their cadences and all that stuff, which gives us a little bit of an edge, and that goes a long way.
I know you're doing your own thing on defense, but is there anything that Fred Warner can't do?
No, he's the best in the world, and it's not close.
Fred mentioned that early on in the game on offense, you kind of felt that you guys had them. Did you feel that early on with the offense clicking so early and then the defense clicking too, that you had the Dallas Cowboys?
Yeah, I mean, I felt really confident, but I try not to get too high or too low throughout games. I know how the NFL works. Things can change really quick, especially with a team that has a lot of weapons and talent. So we were getting a little overhyped in the third quarter, and we kind of tried to keep everybody in check, keep everybody focused, and we got to keep doing that.
You're obviously worried about the other team's offense and stopping the other team's offense. But I'm wondering during the course of the week, there's a lot of, boy, Dallas, they got a good defense. Dallas's defense is really good. Did any of that get through to your guys' ears in terms of, hey, we're not chopped liver here?
No.
What's a little different about this fast start versus the one that you guys had in 2019?
I think just like I mentioned, the way we could attack on offense, it's 2019 was majority run game, I'd say, and now we could attack any which way. George finally got his big night that he deserves, which was coming, and whenever you double cover somebody, there's somebody else making a play. So.
Kyle said he felt really good about the week of practice in terms of when these guys are really locked in. Did you feel the same way?
Yeah, I do. I definitely take practice very seriously, but I don't necessarily. If you practice well, it's not always the result in the game isn't always correlating with that, but it definitely puts you in a good spot.
You said George got the big night he deserves. I mean, is that in reaction to him just getting one target last week?
I just think he kind of gets overshadowed sometimes, and I see a lot of tight ends around the league scoring touchdowns, and I'm kind of like, George deserves his due, and it was just a matter of time.